Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Solomon Christ here with another video. This time it's part 2 of the ComfyUI tutorial. In this case here, we're going to be using RunPod. That's right, we're actually going to be setting up a GPU in the cloud.
Coming up next.
This is the price of the H100. This is NVIDIA's, graphics chip. There you go. Look at that, olive oil. Now the olive oil needs a little bit of help. ComfyUI working via RunPod inside of our n8n. So if you're excited, let's dive right in. All right. So as we get started right now, there's a few concepts that we need to, kind of understand before we can actually dive right in. First and foremost, when we're actually using RunPod, it's a little bit different than doing it, ComfyUI on the local system. If you remember here, ComfyUI before on the local system was literally, you just set it up, you get a port number, and you can now use ComfyUI and, access it via n8n. That's all great, but many times, our servers are just not that fast or capable. Even with my system here, I've got, a good 64 gigs of RAM, and I've got, an okay graphics card. It's not the greatest or anything like that. But there's times where I really need to, push things to the next level. Or there's times where a brand new model has come out that requires a lot more graphics power. And some of these graphics cards cost up to $50,000. I'm not joking. I'm going to show you the prices because a lot of you won't believe me. So here we go. This is the price of the H100. This is NVIDIA's, graphics chip. All right. That's $25,000 to $35,000 or $40,000 for these chips. Now, I don't know about you, but most people don't have 40 grand lying around just to get this chip. And on top of that, the amount of power and energy requirements to use that chip, just to even get something going, it is incredible. And so how do we actually access, the computing power and level of these chips without breaking the bank? That's where RunPod comes in and services like RunPod. And so what RunPod does, and we can go to runpod.io. There we go. RunPod gives us access to all these chips, but for a fraction of the cost. As you can see, I can use H100s here for like $2 an hour. I can use some of the latest chips here for up to $6 an hour. So this really opens up a lot of, opportunity for those who want to be able to access these higher end chips and maybe even try out some of the new graphics opportunities from Hugging Face that are coming out every single day. Such as you can see this one here, this has been downloaded over 5.3 million times. This is WAN 2.2 with ComfyUI, all right? So imagine now, and you've also got WAN 2.1 with ComfyUI, and these are video models here. And as you can see, you can generate some really, really neat things all with, these models here. So this is just an example of some of the things that you could actually generate with this specific model. This is an example of one model with the WAN. I believe this is 2.2 here. And so there are many, many other models and many other things that can be done. Another website that a lot of people, have been starting to use is LM Arena. And it allows you to battle between models, some of them top secret models that have not even come out yet, and allows you to kind of gauge them against each other. All right, so now that we've actually understood, why we're using ComfyUI and, all the different types of models that we could actually do and, the flexibility it gives us, we want to be able to access these higher end chips for speed, for even usage of some of these models here that we may not be capable of. And so RunPod gives us that opportunity. And as I showed you, the pricing is there and it allows us to, test out different models on different systems. Now, to set up RunPod, we have to think a little bit differently. So RunPod is going to be split up into two specific parts. You've actually got the system that is going to be used. And so that could be, some form of computer. And that computer, it could be something that has, the H100 chips. All right, or whatever chips that you need, that is going to be the one that's actually under the hood running all of your ComfyUI and your ComfyUI data and everything inside of there. Then you have the actual models and the ComfyUI technology or the software itself. That lives on another place called the hard drive or the volume. All right, so that there is all of this here. As you can see, I'm actually kind of connecting this up. So the ComfyUI database, the actual software, the actual, AI models that you've downloaded, and even your actual generated data. that's all going to be living on some form of hard drive known as a virtual volume. So what we need to do is we need to actually set up those two specific things inside of RunPod itself. Then from there, our RunPod is set up, but then we need n8n, which is another system, to be able to access via the cloud our RunPod instance and then actually do something with the ComfyUI. And the next major challenge is once we do get that all set up, I don't want to keep that thing on all the time. I just want to generate my images and shut everything off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but I still don't want to be spending about $40,000 in a year for, a server or for a graphics chip, especially if I'm not using it all the time. And so the nice capability is when we're able to turn off the system, we don't have to worry about our data being lost because that's a different computer or volume that is hosting that data. Whereas the actual computer that's running the actual data or that hard drive is a different system on RunPod. All right, so I want to be able to shut off that system at any time after I've generated the images and then only turn it on or choose a completely different chip, a completely different NVIDIA chip or, a graphics card for a different form of generation, but keeping the same ComfyUI. And maybe I download a different model, but everything is done on that volume, but a different chip or a different set of graphics cards and memory are running that. All right, so let's dive in. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go over to RunPod itself, so runpod.io. And there is a link, an affiliate link, okay, as you can see this. Now, the reason why I'm actually pushing the affiliate link is that when you sign up using that affiliate link, you get a random credit between $5 to $500 when you set this account up. And so do I, which is nice. All right, I actually get, a commission as well. But the point is, though, you're actually going to get more money. So it's great for you. Now, here's the biggest key. Every single time you set up an actual RunPod account, you still need to put $10 in it. That goes for everybody who's going to be using RunPod in any way, shape, or form. So regardless, if you're going to spend $10, might as well get additional credits absolutely for free just for clicking a link. So here is my actual link here, and I'll actually use it here. And as you can see, it says that you've unlocked a bonus between $5 to $500. All right. And that's my referral link right there. It's 7241NBM2. And as you can see, you've got the sign up without the bonus or the sign up with the reward as well. So that's totally up to you. And once you actually follow through with everything, don't create any pods or anything. I know it's going to ask you for that. Skip over that. And we want to come right to the actual dashboard because we have some setup to do. All right, so here we are in our system here. And when we actually go to the home page here, you should see like a whole bunch of stuff. Right now, what we need to do is we need to go back to our image here. And you can see the first thing that we want to set up is our volume. That's going to be the thing that holds all of our data and information. That includes ComfyUI, it includes the models, it includes all of our image and video generations. So that requires a volume or a hard drive somewhere on the internet inside of RunPod. So that's what we're going to do first. It's called creating a volume. So on the RunPod homepage, you're going to go all the way to the left and you're going to go down to manage and storage. Now I've already got one set up, but I'm going to set this up manually again so you can watch me as I go through the process. Let's go ahead and click on new network volume. And now you're going to choose a location that can access, many of these different graphics cards. Now, some places may not be able to access everything. As you can see here, I'm right now inside of the US California server and I get access to, these chips here. But if I want to access even more, well, different servers and different locations are going to have different accesses to different chips. Now, specifically, the chip that we're going to be using is the RTX 4090, but you could choose any other ones. However, the RTX 4090 is one that I recommend. It's got a good price to graphics ratio, but of course you can go all the way up to the H100s if you like. And as you can see here, this one is in Montreal, Canada. And you could access, even these higher end ones. And now, once you've selected a place or location based on the chips you want to try and, use, you want to give this volume a name. So I'm going to call this here ComfyUI Data Tutorial. All right. And as you can see, this is 70 cents per month. However, we need a lot more gigabytes of storage. So I recommend about 100 gigabytes. That's about $7 a month or about 7 cents per gigabyte. And that kind of will get you up and running with a proper ComfyUI installation. Can you do it with 50 gigabytes? Sure, you can. You can do it for half the price. I've set up some of those before, but I would recommend if you're just starting out, this is your first time, do the 100 gigs, and it's about $7 a month. That'll get you up and running and keeps your data. And $7 a month is actually relatively really low in price, especially for what we're doing here. So after you click on Create Network Volume, you're going to see the actual network storage here. Now we want to start creating a pod. Now I could do that through the storage and clicking the actual network storage here. I can also go to pods and create a pod here as well. But then I need to make sure that I select the network storage in the list here. So let's do it through the storage button there. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the ComfyUI data tutorial one that we just created. And at the top right here, it says deploy pod with volume. So let's go ahead and click on that. And now make sure you're inside of Secure Cloud. Okay, that's going to be important. And then after that, make sure that your actual volume is the one that you created. In this case, it's ComfyUI data tutorial. Now we're going to select our chip. In this case here, we're going to be selecting the RTX 4090. It's about 59 cents per hour. And from there now, we have to actually choose a template. Now there's a lot of ComfyUI templates. Some will work better than others. I found that with my testing, some just take too long to even download. So if you're in that situation where you're like, you know what, I've got a big download and I really need to, set this up, you could start off with a, lower price chip if it's available. And, once you set everything up, then you can always come back and restart a brand new, actual server with maybe something like an RTX 4090 where you're paying a little bit more, but, everything is set up. And now for the actual template, we're going to change it here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use WAN 2.1. And we're going to be using this 12V ComfyUI Torch 2.8 edition here. And once you've got that all set up, go ahead and click on deploy. So at this point, it's setting everything up. So go ahead, take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back when everything is done. Now, coming back to the image, this entire setup, we just have to do it once for, every volume that we're actually setting up. So every time we're setting up a new ComfyUI, that's when it's going to take some time. But once it's set up, we don't need to do the ComfyUI setup again. All we got to do is just choose a different server, and we're good to go. So that's the nice thing here. So the first time around, it's going to take some time to set up. But after that, we just choose any chip, any server that we want, and we'll be up and running very, very fast. Now, sometimes, depending on the ComfyUI system you set up, there'll be some additional instructions. So when you actually click into your actual pod here, you'll see a template README, and you can follow along just in case there's some additional stuff you need to do. But in this case here, all we have to do is literally just wait for ComfyUI to actually be connected. So just sit there and wait a little bit, and in the connect section here, you'll see it say ready when it's done. All right, so when everything is done, you'll see the status change to ready. Let's go ahead and click on the ComfyUI link. All right, congratulations. We now have ComfyUI running on our own server via RunPod, and we are now ready to dive in. So to start off, let's go ahead and hit the X button here. And on the left side, you're going to see workflows. So let's go ahead and click on that. And you're going to see this WAN workflow here, WAN.json. Go ahead and select that one there. And then click on workflows again. And now we can actually move around inside of this. Specifically down here, in order to get this tested, we've got a few actual items that we have to do first. Number one, we have to actually change some of the text here for the video positive and negative prompts. Number two, we have to also choose a file to upload. So we need some form of image. Number three, we want to make sure specifically for this one here, as we're doing a tutorial video, we don't want to increase the frame rate and resolution, or else that'll just take additional time. So let's start off with this one here. So go ahead and click on this actual link here with the left mouse. Just click and drag up, then let go. And it's going to show you, a little drop down there. Go ahead and click outside of that. All right, there we go. And now let's go ahead and let's actually upload an image. I've chosen one with eggs and toast and breakfast. So there we go. And now let's go ahead and change our positive and negative prompts here. So I've got there a restaurant advertisement for breakfast, eggs and toast. I'm going to remove all the negative prompts there. And let's go ahead and actually click on the run button over here and run this model. Now, as you can see, we're going to see the green outline on any of the nodes it's going to. And at the top here inside of the tab, we're going to see the progress bar. Right now it's at 0%. So it'll keep increasing as it moves through the entire flow. So on the left side, you're going to see a Q button. Go ahead and click on that. Now, this is going to be important as we connect up n8n. we're going to see this queue mode showing us what's actually going on. So while this is actually running, we can actually see the server information. So if you go back to your pods and RunPod, you could see the memories being used right here. So you could see that something's going on. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and save this actual workflow. At the top left here, just click on the Comfy icon here, and then go ahead and click on File and Save. Now we need to actually get this workflow in order to use it in n8n. So for this next step, let's go ahead and click on the Comfy logo again. This time we're going to click on File, and we're going to click on Export API. It's important that you use the API one. And go ahead and click on that there. And keep the name as WAN, that's fine. Click on Confirm. And now we should be able to open up that WAN.json file inside of a notepad or some text editor. And if we look through this JSON here, you can actually see right here the text that actually put in. So restaurant advertisement for breakfast, eggs, and toast. This is going to be important in n8n because we want to replace this with our own text. And inside of here, this is node number 122. And as you can see, we've got this image here. So that's going to be another one that we're going to be using to actually replace inside of our n8n workflow. For now, let's minimize that and let's come back to our generation. And there we go. As you can see, the video generation is pretty darn good. I am like really, floored here. And you can actually open the preview here and take a look. Like that was from an image. That was just a few seconds of video. And it looks exactly like what we actually uploaded here from the actual image there. All right, so that's the power of ComfyUI of what you can do. But now we want to do this in n8n. So let's go ahead into our n8n and let's set up a workflow. So here we are inside of n8n, and I've created a new workflow. I've called it ComfyUI RunPod tutorial. So let's go ahead and add a few nodes. Let's start off with a chat trigger. Okay, there it is, a chat trigger. And inside of this one, we want to be able to allow file uploads. So go ahead and click on that and make sure that you toggle this on. Now come on over here. So let's go ahead and add the ComfyUI node here. So click on plus, type in ComfyUI. All right, and find the single image to video. Go ahead and click on add to workflow. So go ahead and hit the drop down, click on create new credential. And now we're going to go to our ComfyUI and just copy this entire URL here. We're going to paste that in, but very important, make sure you remove the ending slash, all right, or else it's not going to work. And you could delete the API key. Go ahead, hit save. All right, everything's good. Now we need to get the workflow. So inside of this workflow, as you saw, we've got several different areas. Specifically, our text here, we're going to be replacing that. And I believe it is node number 122 here, which takes the file. So let's go ahead and hit Control A, copy that, Control C. And now let's paste this into our workflow here. And now what we need to do is we need to change this image input type to binary. And we know that data is coming in, but we really don't know what it is yet. So let's go ahead and save this. And now let's go ahead and chat. And let's just send a test chat message just so that we can get the information. All right, perfect. Let's connect that up. All right, so now we have the information. As you could see, it's data 0, not data. So let's go ahead and change that to data 0. And let's go ahead and hit JSON. And we want to get this information here from the chat input. So let's click on expression here inside of the workflow. Open this up. And we want to change this text here to our chat input text. Okay. And right here where it says image node ID, let's change that to 122. And we get that from here when we go down. As you can see, the node that is actually doing the image uploads or actually doing the image right here is 122. And so that's how we know, what to put there. I like to put also another thing, which is, data 0. That's up to you, but I'm going to put that inside of here as well, data 0. All right, let's go ahead and save that. And now let's try this properly. So let's go ahead and add an image, and let's describe this image here. Specifically, it is, once again, another breakfast item. This is 3 eggs on toast and avocado. Let's make a nice little video with some olive oil being drizzled on it. All right, there we go. So as you can see now, it's working. And over here, you can see inside of our queue, it's running. So now this is actually working through n8n now. And that is really nice. We can actually now create any workflows we want. So let's take a look here and let's see if it actually creates an advertisement with olive oil. So let's come back in about 5 minutes when it's done. There you go. Look at that, olive oil. Now the olive oil needs a little bit of help, but as you can see, the fact that it actually did that, it's pretty cool. So, we're all set up now and we've got ComfyUI working via RunPod inside of our n8n. How awesome is that? So congratulations on coming this far. I know that was a little bit more of a challenging tutorial, but a very important one, especially at the fact that now you could choose any chip that you want, no matter if it's a $50,000 chip or even, a couple $100. The point is you now have the opportunity to use the latest models on the latest, graphics cards anywhere, anytime. And of course, now you can connect it all up to n8n, and that is really powerful. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's an incredible one. Once again, ComfyUI Part 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please join my school community and make sure you join the n8n community as well. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care. Bye-bye.